Yes, sir.
Yeah. I would like to thank Mr. Bojraj for giving us this opportunity to share some of our experiences with all of you. This is the
तू
first.
तुम्हें इधर आ जाना, क्यों बात करता है इधर इधर, मैं ना बताऊं।
So thank you all for joining in. This is the first of the series that we like to walk through with all of you, looking at the current situation, what we are all going through. Me also, I myself also a part of an MSME and MSME company. We are going through some tough times and looking at how we are going to take our business forward, our products or our services that we are currently doing in. This was something that I had written, I think, about 3 years back, marketing on dark side. I think from a context standpoint, this particular philosophy that I had written down and taken some classes in a few universities and to few corporates cannot be better than the context that we are going through now. How we as entrepreneurs have looked at our brand and take our brand into our consumers, looking at the current context where business is tough, consumers, customers are not, willing to onboard us, things like that. So that's the context in which this entire next 30 to 40 minutes conversation is all about on the marketing on dark side. This is inspired, the entire context is written, inspired around a few Hollywood movies, be it Star Wars or Avengers. Some of the audiences must be aware of these movies. So inspiration is to those movies, bring in certain examples from that and see how we as entrepreneurs can face this reality and market on the dark side. Okay, with your permission, I'll move on. So the context is set like this. This is real life story based on true incidents and no coincidence to any character and any coincidence to any character and brand are intentional. Let the force be with us, not just with you, with all of us. Very important. Just as Earth experienced a period of darkness, brands also experience a dark phase. I think all of us are going through it now. This phase was a time for brands to introspect, learn, prepare for brighter days ahead. I think that's what one, as a practitioner of outreach, I'm investing myself for the last 14 days into this, and I request the fellow entrepreneurs who are part of this webinar also to do it. End of this program, I'm giving you a 30-day daily activity schedule, which encapsulates all this whatever we're going to learn through today, and see how you can sort of practice it as your schedule, as a takeaway, so that you can plan your day for the outreach of your brand. It's crucial for brands to make the right investment in marketing to ensure their survival in future. Marketing, when they say invest in marketing and branding, they always think that we need to hire an agency, we need to go and pay lots of money. But this thing will help us to see how we as individuals, entrepreneurs, can actually do our own marketing and branding. While it is perfectly normal for brands to hibernate, it was also important to be prepared for challenges. And today is the challenge that we are all facing. The need for marketing Jedis to groom brands and make it future ready grew. But the seduction of marketing on the dark side was too much to resist. So what is this dark side all about? According to me, the dark side of any business that we are trying to do is a big fear. And what are these fears? I sort of group those fears into multiple buckets. One is fear of unknown. As businessmen, one of the fears that we always grapple around is fear of unknown. Fear of unexpected. Okay, what we are unexpecting it now. The fear of unnatural. One second. Just trying to move this piece out. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just recreating my screen. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. So we're talking about these 4 fears and how we need to organize ourselves in these 4 fears. The fear of unknown, the fear of unexpected, the fear of unnatural, and the fear of uncharted, right? And in this context, what is this marketing on dark side? When there's a dark side, and how are you going to do this marketing on dark side? One is know the unknown. Second is expect the unexpected. Third is do the unnatural. and fourth is overcome the uncharted. I think these are the four tenets in which through which we can look at during these tough times how we can take our brands into the market better. The 4 or 5 elements that we are clear to know, and most of the things that I'm putting in this first of the webinar series is very rudimentary, very preliminary, but many times we as entrepreneurs either discount this or just ignore this, right? My request is that if you can introspect yourself to see how much of this we ignore and then disregard this, right? One is, do we have the right team to deliver? I think it's a very, very right time. And I was having a conversation with my other partners in the organization. I think this is a time where we have to look at the talent for the future, not the talent for the now. How upskilling and reskilling is going to be so important now in today's context. So knowing about our employees is so important to deliver to our customers. What are the platforms we are in? While there are a plethora of platforms that are available to now in the market for us to have an outreach, but it's important to know which platform actually resonates to our brand very well. Next is industry. We have enough knowledge about the industry. Now there are, I mean, especially now we're all home stuck. We see so much of information overload that happens to us. Is it a way for us to assimilate them and look at where do we stand in that industry and what are the opportunities we can see in that industry in the future to come? Do we know about our audience, our customers, right? And people keep usually saying that it's a B2C customer, a B2B customer. In the end, it's actually human to human, right? And who are those audiences? How they connect to a product? I mean, whether I am manufacturing a machine part, or I'm actually doing a service, or I'm producing some plastic goods. In end of it, the buyer is still a human. And how do we actually do this? Audience understanding is very important. And finally is markets. Do we have enough know about where we are playing? Who is the competition, right? My dear friends, it is a good time for us to know these unknowns. While we all as entrepreneurs think that we know them, do we really have documented them? Did we take time to sort of pencil them out? In my submission, this time, while it's dark side for all of us, the first fear that we know is the fear of unknown. Let's break that to know the unknown by documenting all these things. Our employees, what the strength that they have, what are the skills that they need, what are the platforms which are right for us, what is our industry that's looking at us, who are our audiences, and what is the market and where we want to play, right? The difference between them is I won the war and I have not lost the war. People who break this fear of unknown are the people who will actually go and tell that I have won the war, which means that you are not just going with just a blind, saying that things will get better, but we're actually getting prepared very well to get these basics of our business, which we sort of took it for granted and documenting them back, right? A quick anecdotal example, if I have to relate it back to the fear of unknown and how it impacts and how is it important to the businesses. A lot of you guys must have watched this movie Avengers. It had got multiple sequels. One of the sequels was Infinity War. If you see in that Infinity War, why did this big character called Thanos was able to defeat 27 to 30 Avengers over there? Was it because Avengers were not strong enough? It was because Thanos had enough data on where the Infinity Stones were hidden and insights of how to secure them, right? And today, we as entrepreneurs are in the exact same phase, right? We are faced with many challenges of markets, trying to understand our audiences, how the industry is going in. So the in-depth knowledge, insights of the stones, how we wield them, using them, and knowing how to draw out Avengers is what sets up Thanos apart from other adversaries in the Marvel universe. I mean, this is what was my takeaway when I watched that movie and relating it back to the fear of unknown or know the unknown, right? Thanos won the war because he knew the unknown. He had made his enough amount of preparation on the things that he wanted to know, which is in that context of Infinity Stones. But in our context of entrepreneurs, we need to know our people, the market, the platforms, the audiences, and the industry. And the first thing is that try to spend time to document them, put certain structures for us to know that, so that when better times come in, we'll be much better than people who have not done this or who have overcome this fear of unknown. Okay. Moving on to the second one is expect the unexpected. The rapidly evolving world of technology is forcing markets to expect the unexpected. I think a lot of us, including myself, a few years back, had very limited play of technology to us. A technology play could be as trivial as how can we use WhatsApp to our business than what we are using today, to going into as farther as possible in technology, right? So how can we expect the unexpected? I think that's the second important element that we need to have as entrepreneurs in today's context of business. There are 5 things that I think we should do. One is experimentation. Okay, good marketing requires a lot of experimentation. Whether we realize it or not, with every decision we make or strategy we implement, we are experimenting. We may expect a strategy to be effective based on experience and best practices, but we don't necessarily know until the data comes in. I think that's very, very important. I think whether we are getting locked, the lockdown will be removed on the 14th of April, or we may be still the business going to be having some slowdown in weeks to come in. I think we as entrepreneurs, very important is experiment. Can we look at ways in which we can experiment our marketing outreach to the consumers that we are looking at? Now, I always quote Ratan Tata's statement. I think 79 or 80 he made this statement that I don't believe in taking right decisions. I take decision and then make it right, and which means a lot of research is needed, which is a know the unknown, and then start experimenting about it, right? The second is flexibility. Expecting the unexpected is in marketing means creating flexible strategies. If the efficacy of your entire email campaign or web design is contingent on a singular specific action, you'll never see the levels of success you want. Very simple that we can do as business people is start sending out emailers to your old contacts, your old customers. Try multiple things. I mean, there are 2 schools of thought. People say emailers doesn't work. People don't have time to email. They just go to spam. But there's nothing wrong for us now to be flexible to see how can we entice this person to connect back to us, right? I think we can do a lot of experimentation, make it very flexible for us to try to reach out to our prospects. At least right now, I'm not saying reaching out, but we can start preparing ourselves to see in what way we are going to go and talk back to them once the industry or the business market outlook feels better. The third is appetite for risk. Don't be afraid to give new ideas and tactics a chance. If it doesn't require too much of time, effort, and resources, implement it. I think all of us as entrepreneurs have already know the power of risk, and that's why we're all entrepreneurs. But how can we sort of amplify it, right? How can we introspect ourselves now to see that we can come out with some interesting pricing models or interesting payment schedules or interesting collaboration with our customers and partners? We can invest the time now so that once market becomes better, we are actually up the curve than other people who are not investing themselves into this stuff. I mean, this is basically the Jutech girl from India who actually won. It was a pure expect unexpected example that I can reflect back in, right? We never heard of it. We never thought about that individual girl's brilliance in terms of her preparation. But then overnight, when we saw this girl actually winning the collegiate running race, we all knew the success was sort of coming through it, right? So I think that's what is important for us to see how we plan our risk appetite in this backup. Always we should have a plan B, C, and D backups for us, right? And especially when you're trying to do an outreach, if I'm doing an email campaign and with a WhatsApp campaign to them, can I do a LinkedIn campaign? Can I reach out to people? Can I sort of look at Sales Navigator as a tool in LinkedIn? Put all my suspects in place and start reaching out to them as a plan B. If that doesn't work out, can I actually do social profiling for them in Facebook, or look at some way of actually reaching out to them through a way of doing a research-based emailers profiling of them and reaching out to them. So let's have a plan B or C or D for us, especially when things start looking better for us, right? The last one is other factors. While we can do everything right and setting up an execution and a marketing plan, there's always to be outside factors that impact this performance positively or negatively, and we're all facing it today now, right? So these factors is beyond our expectations, and I think the know the unknown and being experimentative, being flexible, and looking at how we are able to actually sharpen our pencil to be more risk appetite in terms of structuring with a backup will help us to fight these other factors when the market sort of opens up. Now, example, I was saying demonetization is something that nobody expected, but how did we sort of ensure, people came out with very interesting working capital plans. People came up with a very interesting collaborations for people to work with them. There was shortage of money in the market. So people find their ways to come out. And most of them, if you go back, will be either by experimentation or flexibility or looking at how they are going to sharpen their risk appetite or having a backup plan. Right? Examples of expect the unexpected, right? Pretty much everyone passed on Google until one guy realized that Larry Page and Sergey Brin were onto something and cut them $100,000 check, right? Nobody knew that that money could actually become a household name today, right? And this is what the kind of risk that we are looking at. Collaborate with customers. I've seen one of the best examples for us. I mean, I'm part of few investment groups also. One of the best time for us to see if we can actually invest is our own customers. Why don't we look at making a structured model in which we make our customers to be our investors, right? And co-create something for our customers. These are the ways in which we can invest our time today so that once things start becoming better, we'll have an edge about our competition. Apple. The media unanimously thought Apple was a crazy to get off with a hyper-competitive cell phone business. But you know what Apple is all about today, right? And people who know the history of Apple. I mean, I'm giving examples which we all knew. But look at another example. When Evan Williams bought Odio's investor for a few $1 million, a side project was discussed, but nobody paid much attention, including some of the very smart and accomplished VCs and investors. If people who knew this Odio business, which nobody actually looked at and sort of pushed as a side project, that project was nothing but actually came out of Twitter in the end, right? I think these are the ways in which we as entrepreneurs look. I'm committing myself to look at how we can reinvent our own company to see that we can look beyond the near future and organize our companies for at least a long run to come in. The third element of marketing on dark side is do the unnatural. It is mapping the marketing journey from promo to ITP. I think it's slightly complex considering an extremely difficult situation that we are coming in. But a knowledge about that is very good for us to at least sort of organize ourselves in times to come in, right? What is most natural course of action when businesses isn't good or when sales are less, which is what we are all facing now, is cutting costs, cutting the marketing of the list, right? Which is very relevant. I think I agree. I have empathy on that point. But just give me leads is what we all look for, right? Now, in this phase, as individuals, what is that we can do without actually investing too much of money, without having too much of money in organizing ourselves to be ready? Very simple philosophies or simple elements of looking at reaching out, attract, engage, influence, convert, delight. We do that. All of us as entrepreneurs, we do that. We look to go and attract new customers. We like to engage with customers in conversations. We try to influence them with our product and services, the knowledge that we bring in, try to explain to our customers. In the end, we try to convert some of them as our customers. And in the end, we actually delight them so that they become our brand ambassadors or they become our advocates to go them, right? I think what is important for us to invest more at this point of time is awareness and investigation about us, investigation and comparison and consideration and purchase and ownership. The last two pieces is going to be all the more important for the times to come, where the delight and conversion is going to be a big cyclical process, right? There's going to be a lot more of people trying to buy the products and services when the market slightly becomes better. So advocacy becomes all the more important for us to be very, very clear. Some elements of marketing functions that can help you in these aspects, just in very initial. I mean, there are going to be detailed conversations and webinars that we will do for each topic. People are interested to know about that particular topic and join that at point of time. Attracting is can be done through good social media marketing or an SEO or some public relations. I mean, I think Laghu Udyoga Bharati has given us a great platform. Me being a member of Laghu Udyoga Bharati and MSME company, a great platform for us to do our own public relationship with our audiences. A good time to invest in Engage is website. Very simple ways we can create our own digital facade for us. You know, a lot of our companies today, even an SME or an MSME companies doesn't have website. I think good time to invest back into it, right? LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I think I'm going to take one session talking to the Laghu Udyoga Bharati. Very important tool that is available. You don't need agencies. You know, you can empower yourself to be your sales guy, digital marketer, to use this tool called LinkedIn Sales Navigator to reach out to your suspects and prospects. LinkedIn and Twitter, good place. I'm not a big Twitter handle person. Very seldom I go there, but I invest a lot of my time on LinkedIn. And email us is a good way for us to engage with our audiences. Sorry. Blocks and pulses, influence. I think this is one thing that I strongly urge people to write. I mean, this is the best way to reflect back your experiences that made you as an entrepreneur, right? It doesn't matter, you know, how beautiful the article is, how big the article is, or how rich the article is in terms of an verbiage or stuff. I mean, there are people who can help us out on that. But experience that each of us carry, I think it's a great way for us to put it back in as a blog and start publishing on the relevant networks, right? Connections and referrals, thought leadership, and personal branding. I think these are also very important for us to invest our time in these situations, so that we are able to influence our prospects when market sort of builds up in. When we know our strength, we know our skills. I think it's important for us to brand ourselves through digital channels, and then be ready for us to be a slightly better edge than other people when the market sort of picks up in, right? Feet on the street, when things start coming in, online media, events, these are all maybe need some amount of investment of money towards the media for us to outreach in terms of ads, so that we can start converting them into customers, so on and so forth. And finally is automation of customer champions, right? I mean, but the other thing is automation, right? Using technology. How can we sort of use technology to solicit the customer feedback, to engage with the customers? There are very easy chatbots available today, very inexpensive chatbots available today for us to keep in touch with our customers. You know, when we are offline, so the customer knows about us. A simple journey about how much money to spend when. Again, as I told you, this may not be slightly for the context of when the market sort of opens up in. So typically you spend money on a brand when you actually have visibility that is established to the brand. You know, spending money on a brand just to converting leads at sometimes may not be a good way of spending money, right? So that's what I say that first you need to have a TOMA, which is top of the mind awareness about our product and services. And once we look at that, then every money that we spend on generating leads, which is basically intent to purchase, will actually get us a better return on investment for us than just getting leads which will not be convertible to us, which will not be pure sales qualified leads for us. When we get it as a marketing qualified leads, and when our sales people will call them or we reach out to them, but the conversion may not be very high. So look at this point of time, investing in a top of the mind awareness. You don't need an agency. Each of you can sort of work with the calendar I'm going to give you at the end of this session for you to do the natural here. Some of the examples that I've sort of been giving to people. I've been working with one of the real estate builders some time back, I think about a couple of years back, and they said that we don't want to do advertisement during Ashada Mas, you know, because nobody buys the house. Why should we sort of waste money in Ashada Mas? And one of the conversation I had with one of the builders is that, like, people may not buy the house during Ashada Mas, but people are not going to stop reading newspaper, right? In Ashada Mas is when Times of India and a lot of other newspapers have the rack rates the least, because people don't want to advertise, right? I think if I'm able to advertise that time, my top of the mind awareness about the brand, obviously if the content is good, if the messaging is good, I'm able to do the same top of the mind awareness better with a lesser money than actually getting cluttered during Diwali time or during Dashera time or other times when it's supposed to be auspicious to buy a flat, right? So these are the ways in which we can look at how we can augment our reserve cash that we have in terms of spending money into reaching out to the people. The last one is overcome the uncharted. This is for the startups. A startup is a company that is confused about what is the products, who are its customers are, how to make money, when and where to get investments. These are constantly going on with people, right? I mean, I talk to a lot of startup companies or people who just started up a few months back, and these are the kind of questions that are constantly worrying them, right? I think what my suggestion to them is find your customers early. And what I mean by find your customers early is there's too much of conversation that people do in terms of who my customer is, how I'm going to find them. My suggestion is that using digital channels, using your research, know the unknown, it's very easy for us to sit down and prospect and create our prospect list very, very strongly. I do that, right? I'm not here to paint the city or the state or the country about my company, right? With reserves of cash that we have, it's very easy for us to sit down and build our customer and ensure that we find a customer early, right? Go to the market as soon as possible to get these initial customers. Define the use cases. A lot of people, what I've seen in startups is that they don't define use cases, right? When they say define use cases use cases are very generic, right? Can we actually craft use cases for example, if I'm trying to build a website, I'll give an example which may be relevant, right? If I'm building a website, I'm going to build a website for a company as big as Bosch or a large builder, say like Prestige or a Mantri. At the same time, I'm also build a website for a very a company which is from a revenue standpoint very less, from an reach kind of target segmentation they have is very less, right? Now, if I am going to try to develop a website as a service to them, if I'm able to build a use case in this scenario versus this scenario, how is going to be my structure, whether it is time, resources, and money, I'll be able to have a better engagement with my audiences than saying that this is how I'm going to build my website, right? So I think each of us have an opportunity for us to define our use case. Looking at, once we know our set of customers, we can look at for each customers, can we break them into say 3 or 4 or 5 groups, and for each group, can we create an use case scenario and be ready with the use case scenario, right? Validate and that's the best way for us to validate the products, network to generate revenue. I mean, one of the things that I've also seen is people connect in LinkedIn and they think that I got a network. I go to events, we exchange cards, we connect them on LinkedIn, we connect them on different groups on WhatsApp these days, and I think we have a great network. But are we really engaging in the network? Are we able to bring our expertise that we are in, either a product or service, and then have a conversation with an individual whom we think is part of our customer list, which will help us to generate revenue eventually? I think that's something we can introspect in this time and invest our time into it now, right? Don't define the price in the boardroom. Again, this may not be relevant to a lot of people, but a lot of startups sit in their offices and decide what should be my price point. I think my suggestion to them is go to market. It's, that defines the price for you than actually sitting and looking at a laptop or a computer. Content marketing works. I have a separate session or separate 5 slides I want to show you on what this content marketing all about is, so that all of us can sort of invest our time in to prepare this content, what we call as content marketing, right? So I'm sort of skipping the through in. I'm going to show that other few slides later. Personal branding is very important. I'm a big believer of that. Each of us as entrepreneurs have a brand to ourselves. We can create our own brand on the digital channels, express what we are good at, what the strengths are, and write about it, connect to the people. There are groups available, go and talk there. I think this will help us have a top of the mind awareness. When I'm sure when things get better, people do need our services and do need our products. So just to summarize, the marketing in dark side is know the unknown, expect the unexpected. Once you do it, you will be knowing the unknown. You'll be expecting the unexpected. You have to overcome the uncharted, and you've done the unnatural. The dark side of the force is a pathway to many abilities, some consider to be unnatural. This is from a quote. And what I'd like to rephrase that is, the dark side of marketing is a pathway to many possibilities, some consider to be natural. I think that's my submission here. This is what we as Zamsters believe in. As all of you or most of you go through, we are going through tough times. We are hanging on to our employees, requesting them to invest their time to build their skills, create content, make good use of this time for our customers who are still invested with us to see how we will be able to make the dark side of marketing a pathway for many possibilities and better times to come in. So my request is, I'm going to share that with Shekhar, this 30-day challenge. I have broken down your 30-day calendar. Like today is 6th of April. So by 6th of May, you can actually break your entire day or entire month into basically 6 things. We have to prospect. We're all businessmen. We need to prospect for new business. We need to write something. We have to do a blogging. We have to be on the social media channel. We need to establish ourselves as thought leadership. I think each of us have got some skill that we can sharpen it to project as a thought leadership. We can become an influential marketeer, and we should network it, right? But doing all these things, I sort of put a calendar to you from day 1 to day 30. If you go from day 1 to day 30, every one day you need to spend about an hour in it. I think that's very easy for you guys to spend time now, being at home now. And if you can follow this, right? I've given an so every day, one day could be a blogging, one day could be actually active on social channel, one day could be you establishing yourself as a thought leader on a Quora platform. One day could be like you actually are becoming part of the influential marketing journey, and one day could be actually networking, right? One of the things that we are doing today is networking. We are all getting together into one webinar, and we are networking and trying to understand and express our thoughts. I think this is a 30-day program. I will share that with Shekhar. My email ID is available with Shekhar. In doing this, if you guys want any help, absolutely feel free to reach out to me. Whatever best we can do to help you guys out, we will help you guys out in getting you guys into the digital channel. Do not, I mean, as people say, right? No, try not, do not. This is no try. So I think let's all do this. Let's all try to convert this time in the tough times for us to go in, of the business. I want to just take a couple of things. Shekhar, are you able to see my next screen?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see
framework?
This?
Yes, sir.
The blue one?
Yes, sir. The blue one, content strategy.
Yeah, perfect. So this I'll just take about 10 minutes of time. This is something
Please.
that I would like to sort of, content is the reason search begins in the first place, right? I mean, the entire digital marketing happens because of content, right? And content could be audio visual, could be text, it could be, on WhatsApp, but without content, nobody searches for anything, right? And that's why content is so important for us to be there. If you're interested in marketing your business online, you can't escape hearing about content marketing. It's everywhere you look for and listen for. What is content marketing? In our words, content marketing means creating and sharing valuable free content to attract and convert prospects into customers and customers into repeated buyers. The type of content you share is closely related to what you sell. In other words, you're educating people so that they know, like, and trust you enough to do business with you. This is very simple, right? It sounds very simple. Actually, friends, this is very easy for us to implement too, provided we have a discipline to follow that on a daily basis. I'm just moving it off a couple of things. So the entire content framework is, in one side, you have this content, conversation, conversion, and community, right? Each of us as entrepreneurs, we are trying to build content, which is basically set up social landscape and build content hub with a defined publishing strategy. And we are doing that to actually have conversations, which is taking the performance of the page and engaging with the audiences. And by doing that, we're expecting conversions to happen, which is influence the customers, to convert them into leads by bringing them into attitudinal change. And in the process, build a community, a digital community, is to form consumers who are going to be a brand advocate, right? That is one axis. In other axis, we are actually looking at using digital platform to move the mindset of a consumer from an awareness, which is getting to know about us as an individuals, about our product and services, change in her attitude, and finally becoming an advocate of our brand. And that's what encapsulates the content framework. Typically, when you write content, always remember one thing: your content is a mixture of 4 things. Your content could be instructional, right? content with clear, crisp call to actions leading audiences to relevant landing pages. That is instructional content. Next is factual content. Content giving information about the services or solutions the brand provides. Third is emotional content. Content that strongly connects with audiences on an emotional level. Finally, a promotional content. I think when we write content, we need to keep in mind how we write this content with the right balance between instructional, factual, emotional, promotional. For the end of it, the person on the other side of the laptop who's consuming it just like you and me. And when we consume content, we don't want to be bombarded only with promotional. We don't want to also be just bored with only emotional content. It has to be a balance of emotional, instructional, factual, and promotional as a brand for it to register in our mind, so that when I want to take a decision to purchase it, I have a recall of the brand. So what you do for that is you basically set up a social landscape. Anybody who absolutely who doesn't have a social presence today, reach out to us. We'll help you as part of LUB. I'll work with Boja Ji, and anybody who wants to establish a social network, we are ready to help you guys to help you set up your social network. Build a content hub. As I told you, each of you know about your product or a service. Think about, pen down about the product and service, how you can write 5 lines like instructional, factual, emotional, and promotional. Define a publishing strategy, which is basically, there is something called POEM, which is paid, owned, earned media, right? For our product and services, we'll write something ourselves, which is our own content. Second could be that we are buying the content, which I think I will not recommend at this point of time. But there are a lot of earned media. There are a lot of content which are available in terms of repurposing that we can do, right? So we can look at how we are able to have this publishing that we can go based on our content strategy that, or a content hub that we've created. Publish, measure, and report. Again, I'll help you guys on how to look at whether your content is getting noticed on the platforms. How do you tweak it? How do you rework it? And that's basically to publish, measure, and report. And that's what basically your content marketing is all about. So with that, I will take a pause. I will share the key points of the conversation to Mr. Shekhar. I thank Lahu Udyog Bharati for this opportunity to share. We're going to work with them to see that any specific things like SEOs or social media marketing, website development, specific topics, more deeper insights, we'll continue with more webinars in days to come in. I'll open the line, Shekhar, with your permission.
Yes, sir. So before we open the line, there are 3 questions, sir. First, I'll take from Prabhas Reddy. He's asking, what marketing strategy will you recommend for electrical and electronics engineering and manufacturing in MSMEs? The products are very specialized for usage in nuclear power plants, defense, and steel plants. This is from Prabhas Reddy, sir.
Mr. Prabhas Reddy, I think the first and foremost thing to establish this, since it is such a very niche industry and a product or a service that you guys do, it's very important for you to have a very thought leadership approach, an influential marketing approach of looking at outreach here, right? People are not going to look at a Facebook post about your product and then just react it. I think there is, look at the example of coronavirus right now. We didn't know, a lot of us didn't know about how a ventilator works or how does the manufacturing of ventilator happens downstream, right? But with this outbreak, we have been actually exposed to a lot of information about how things are happening. I think for your specialized product, I think the best way for you is to establish and go through a thought leadership route where you write good blogs, take to Quora, go to Medium, invest yourself to establish you and your organization as thought leadership. I think that's what my recommendation for you will be. And LinkedIn is the best platform for that, to outreach. Sorry.
So the next question is from Narayana Prasanna. What is the hit rate in digital marketing?
It's a loaded question. I don't know what is. Can I have Mr. Narayanan, if he's on the phone, I can have a conversation with him.
Yeah, good evening, Shiram.
Hello, Mr. Narayanan. Can you explain me what is this hit rate means? I didn't want it to sort of,
the number of people who view the ad or the blog versus the sales figure.
Okay, very good. Okay. So it is actually, I'll give you a broad metrics that happens in digital marketing. And then for each industry, there'll be slight deviations. Typically, if you look at a social media engagement, right? Anything around 6 to 8% engagement rate is supposed to be a good engagement rate as per industry standards. Okay. Now, certain industries it may go up to about 11%, certain industries about 4 to 5%. But 6 to 8% engagement rate is the first metric for us to see that we have a good engagement with the audiences on social platform. That's the first metric. Second metric is if I'm able to have a conversion rate in between 7 to 11%. I mean, that's a broad range, but again, it depends on industries. I think a 7 to 11% conversion rate, I think is a great industry benchmark today for us to look at, which means that if I'm able to actively engage with 100 people, I think about 7 to 11 people will move the needle to the next level. If we have done our tenets of marketing right, that I have the right audiences I've targeted, I know the right prospects I've targeted, my content is right, I'm engaging with the right amount of periodicity with the audiences. If these things are right, I think out of every 100 people we're engaged with, 7 to 11 people should be able to move the needle where they're actually interested to talk business with us.
Sir, one more question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, what is the percentage of marketing cost we incur on the product cost?
It depends on, again, industry, sir. If you look at average is anywhere, I mean, the benchmark is anywhere between about 3.5 to 7.5%. I mean, that's the range we're looking at, right? Some industries which are very high in terms of their sell-through price may have a lower percentage basis, but typical marketing investment that if you're looking at it on a brand, I am talking about MSMEs and mid-sized company levels where we're all part of fraternity, should be anywhere between about 3.5 to about 7.5%. I think that's what I would look at.
So Mr. Shashank Kiran asks, how much should an MSME approximately spend on creating a basic website?
Sir, my suggestion is that there are ways actually you don't have to invest anything in building a website. Okay, that's what I said, right? I'm going to talk to Bojraji later today to have a specific session to MSME members where I'm part of it. You can build a website even free today, right? So my submission is that companies, our fraternity in MSME companies today, which doesn't have a website, best time for them to actually look at creating a website today, right? A website can be created by yourself, which doesn't cost any money, but a professional done website can be done even at about 20,000 rupees levels also, right? Because you need a good you need a good digital facade which reflects you, which is nothing but represents your value systems, your products and services, and gives you a digital facade to the consumers to know who you are.
And Mr. Sandeep asks, how branding is important for B2B business?
100%, sir. I know mathematically it's a wrong statement. As I told you, whether you do B2B or B2C, ultimately it's a human-to-human connection that we establish, right? So going back to what is marketing or what is branding, right? Branding is nothing about when somebody talks about you as an entrepreneur or our product or services, they should be able to recall about us. And that's branding for me in a layman's term. How do we establish that? There are ways to establish that today through digital channels, right? People say that I have network, I know people, I can do business. But we have seen now in the current context, how much of a network we have is of no use, right? So there are ways in which we should establish our brand. Each of us, I think there are about 63 participants on the call. Each 63 members are a brand to ourselves. It's about us, how you manifest a brand. On how we go to the social channels, talk about us, present ourselves, write about our products and services is branding, in my opinion. I think that's absolutely needed, 200%.
Sir, Sundaramurthy asks, micro and small industries may use agencies like Trade India, etc. Please comment on that, sir.
Very good. I mean, see, Trade India, IndiaMart, there also are good platforms for you to look at generating revenues, your leads, having some ways to have exposure to your audiences. They have certain banner ads that they give. They can run some email campaigns. If you have good relationship with them, I think they have done. I know that I have worked with both of them, Trade India as well as India Mart. If you're able to work with them well, they'll be able to do some good work for us for a small and medium micro company.
So this is a bit too specific question. Ramani is asking this, sir. I would like to know how to improve marketing for cotton handloom products like towels and bed sheets.
How to improve? Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, how to improve marketing for cotton handlooms and towels and bed sheets.
Yeah, Mr. Ramani, I think one of the things that all of us have seen in the last 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, is that there's going to be huge opportunity for businesses from home, right? Especially the small and micro segments. Businesses are going to really flourish, if you're able to organize ourselves well. So if you're able to use, I think social channel is the right platform. I think I would say 2 platforms that you can use for hand towels, and what was the second thing you said?
Bed sheets, sir.
Bed sheets. I think use Facebook and Instagram as a good channel. Create a differentiator to your product. Why somebody should use your towel and use your bed sheets, right? If you're able to differentiate your product well and able to reach audiences through Facebook channel and Instagram channel, I think you'll have a better reach. People are consuming that kind of information. If you look at today, people have, in my own community that I live in, using Facebook, we have 6 new entrepreneurs who have started in the last 1 week. People who had known how to make food, bake cooks, bake breads, or they make chocolates. I think best way for you to look and expressing your product and reaching out to the audiences, right content using Facebook and Instagram could be a good way for you to reach to end consumer directly for industries like towels and bed sheets.
There is an important question, sir, from Vasundhara Ramachandra Rao. How to improve my packaging post COVID-19?
How to improve my packaging post COVID-19? I think I am not an expert in that space. I mean, there are definitely some of our, we don't know what are the regulations that will come in now. If you're looking at packaging as, when people are going to post-COVID, how it's going to be used, handled by people. I'm assuming this intent is not from a design standpoint. It's more about physical packaging standpoint. I don't know that answer. I think I'm sure we'll take this question to Bojraj ji. There'll be certain experts within our fraternity. Even we are looking at some guidances to come in from the authorities. I may not be the best person to take this question.
Mr. Navale wants to know, sir, what do you suggest marketing strategy for micro companies of component manufacturers?
I again go back for component manufacturers today. It's an extremely tough market. You have from one side you have big players to spectrum is quite wide open. I would say first and foremost is get into hygiene. For these small component manufacturers, best time right now to get to the hygiene. Get branding and marketing part of the hygiene. What I have seen in my experience, I'm a mechanical engineer. I have worked with component manufacturers. I've interacted a lot with them at a small and micro level, right? Their belief always has been that I don't need branding, I don't need marketing. I have an OEM, I go and I have my yearly contract with them, I'll go and do them. I think not having a very specific answer in terms of strategy that you can look at to take it forward. I mean, whoever is gentleman, Shekhar, you can connect me with him. I'll have a follow-up call with him. But what I would strongly recommend is invest in the branding and marketing as a hygiene today, right? Your product, your components require some skill, whether it is a machining skill or a lathe skill or some skill that needs. You have certain machinery that you do. You have certain quality process that you adhere with, right? Present it back to the people. People are going to consume from you because of these inherent traits of your product and your skills that you have. Today, industry is not aware of that. Use your digital friend today to create that as a hygiene. That would be my submission.
So Mr. Babu asks, do you help us to make our LinkedIn profile? If yes, what is the tentative price?
Sir, I don't want to use the word price now here. Let me work with association. Definitely, answer is yes. Okay. Anybody personally you want to create a LinkedIn page, please reach out to me. Shekhar has got my email ID. I'm committing whatever is possible. We will definitely do it for you guys so that you can digitally connect to other people through LinkedIn.
So there's another question from Mr. Krishnamurthy, Venki Krishnamurthy. Would using a software be a good thing for MSME to reach out to clients and prospective clients, say like CMR?
I didn't understand the question, sir. Sorry.
So, Mr. Venki is asking, would using a software be a good thing for reaching out to MSMEs to the clients?
Is Mr. Venki on the line? I am still not. I mean, how can a software take us to the client? I'm not.
It is CRM, Customer Relations Management, CRM.
Yeah. See, CRM never takes us to the client. CRM is a system which helps us to organize ourselves, right? So going back, as I told you, know the unknown, right? If you are able to, one of the better ways for you to reaching out customers is LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? I will definitely use that training program one time, Shekhar.
Yes.
I think every MSME company should get to know how to use Sales Navigator. It's a free tool. I mean, LinkedIn charges after first month 5,000 rupees a month, not a big thing, and you can be self-empowered to reach your prospects there. But a CRM tool is a good tool. I use CRM tool. We have built our own CRM tool. The reason why CRM is important for me is not because it helps me to get clients, but it helps me to organize my journey to reaching out to customers better. It helps me to do analytics better. It helps me to look where I have missed, where I have not missed. What are the steps I can improvise in a selling process? So in that context, CRM is absolutely a tool that every entrepreneur should use. It could be even as simple as using an Excel sheet. And there are a lot of free CRM tools available in the market today that you can use as in 1 or 2 users to look at your sales process, your sales funnel in a more scientific manner.
So Veena Murthy asks, please suggest the marketing strategy for NGOs and crowdfunding for cultural activities.
Marketing strategy for NGO
and crowdfunding for cultural activities.
Can I take that question? Can you connect that man?
Offline, sir. Yeah, you can take the
please?
question offline.
I mean, it's a very interesting thought. There are a couple of places where I have personally involved, so I can have that conversation with them. You can connect with me. I'll take this question to him separately.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floor is open to everybody. Please go ahead and ask, or we can close the session. We have about 1 minute more.
Good afternoon, Sriram Kupachi and our Executive Secretary, Mr. Shekhar. Wonderful presentation, lot of learning today. And Sriram, I just wanted we need your help to have the LinkedIn profile for many of the people who would like to set it up. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, sir. I will work with Shekhar and set up the follow-up on this.
Is there a question from Mr. Srinivas Prasad?
It is from.
Sorry?
Is there a question from Mr. Srinivas Prasad?
I think Sandeep from CNC cluster, he has chatted one question. You can ask Shriram.
My question is answered. I'm Sandeep. My question is answered.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So if there are no more questions, can I close the session? So thank you very much, sir. It was really enlightening. I hope all my members would be very happy to actually have you once again. Maybe next couple of weeks we'll have you again. I'll thank everybody, and we will have another session tomorrow. We will have with NSIC executive tomorrow. Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shekhar ji.
Yes, sir.
Before you close off, tomorrow, anytime, people can just, you can share my number and my email ID. Anybody wants any assistance in setting up the LinkedIn profile or any other follow-up questions, please feel free to WhatsApp me. On my calls, I'll ensure that I'll respond back to them by the end of the day tomorrow.
We'll coordinate with you, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen and friends. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
God, the other meeting.